What happens when one of Hollywood's most respected actresses walks into what she thinks is a friendly morning show interview, only to find herself facing a host determined to tear down her legacy? What unfolds is a battle of wits that exposes the dark underbelly of television journalism and leaves viewers questioning everything they thought they knew about their favorite morning show. This is the story of how Meryl Streep, the woman who has captivated audiences for decades, found herself in the fight of her life, against a host more interested in controversy than conversation. The morning started like any other at the Good Morning America studios in Manhattan. Meryl Streep arrived early, as she always did, her silver hair perfectly styled, wearing a navy blue blazer that exuded elegance and authority. She'd done hundreds of interviews in her career. This was supposed to be a standard promotional appearance for her latest film. Producers had assured her publicist it would be a light, friendly chat about her role, and maybe a few reflections on her Hollywood journey. George Stephanopoulos sat behind his desk, shuffling through notes with an intensity that felt off for a celebrity interview. His team had been buzzing all morning about headline-making questions and real journalism. The studio felt charged, not celebratory, but expectant. As cameras rolled, George flashed his professional smile. "We're here with the incomparable Meryl Streep," he began. "Meryl, thank you for joining us." "Thank you for having me, George," she replied warmly. But instead of talking about her new film, George leaned forward. "Meryl, I want to start with something that's been on people's minds. Your political activism has been vocal. Some argue celebrities like you should stick to entertainment and stay out of politics. How do you respond?" The smile on her face faltered, just slightly. Not from fear, but surprise. "Well, George," she replied with poise, "the beauty of democracy is that every citizen has a voice, actor, teacher, plumber, or journalist. I've never claimed to know everything, but I care deeply about issues affecting us all." George nodded, unsatisfied. "But don't you think there's a difference between being concerned and using your platform to influence millions? Shouldn't that come with more responsibility?" The energy in the room shifted. Crew members exchanged uneasy glances. This wasn't the interview they'd prepared for. "I believe responsibility means being authentic," Meryl said, now firmer. "I speak my truth and encourage others to think critically. I don't tell people what to believe. I share what matters to me." George pressed harder. "When you spoke at the Golden Globes, weren't you telling millions their political choices were wrong?" Meryl's eyes narrowed, though her voice remained steady. "I spoke about empathy, protecting the vulnerable, and dignity in discourse. If that's political, then maybe we need to re-examine our politics." The tension was growing. Then George took it further. "You've been called the greatest actress of your generation. Young performers look up to you. When you make political statements, aren't you indoctrinating them into your worldview?" Meryl straightened, her eyes locked on him. "Did you just accuse me of indoctrinating people?" George backpedaled. "I'm asking if you consider how impressionable people may see your words." She leaned forward. "Let me be clear. I've spent my career urging young actors to think for themselves, to question everything. If that's indoctrination, then you don't understand mentorship." Still, George doubled down. "Surely you can see how some might find it problematic when entertainers use platforms for politics." Meryl's calm cracked slightly. "What I find problematic is a journalist who's more interested in controversy than conversation. You invited me here to discuss my film, not to interrogate me like a radical activist." George smirked. "But isn't that what you are?" The question was so loaded, even the teleprompter operator looked stunned. "An agenda?" she repeated slowly. "If caring about human rights is an agenda, if believing in dignity for all people is an agenda, then yes, I have an agenda. I call it being a decent human being." George pushed again. "Don't you think criticizing political figures influences public opinion?" She laughed sharply. "Mobilizing my fan base? George, you talk as if I'm controlling minds. My fans are intelligent. If they resonate with what I say, it's because they already share those values. Then came the breaking point. Your Golden Globes speech criticized the former president. Many thought it was inappropriate. You made a political statement at an entertainment event. Meryl's face showed a mix of surprise and disappointment. Are you saying advocating for human dignity and free press is inappropriate? George nodded. People want entertainment, not lectures from celebrities. She stood up, not dramatically, but with dignity. George, I need to stop you. You brought me here under false pretenses. This was supposed to be about my work, my art. Instead, you've painted me as a radical who has no right to speak. He tried to salvage it. You're overreacting. These are legitimate questions. Her eyes narrowed. Legitimate? You've made accusations disguised as questions. That's not journalism, it's ambush. The producers panicked. Whispers flew through headsets. I'm holding you accountable, George insisted. You have a huge platform. She shot back. Accountable to whom? I answer to my conscience, not journalists who think they can police thought. What you're doing is not journalism, it's character assassination. The tension was now electric. Then George made the fatal mistake. I think you're proving my point. This emotional outburst is why actors shouldn't discuss serious issues. You're being dramatic, just like in your movies. Gasps echoed through the studio. Even the cameraman looked stunned. But Meryl didn't yell. She went still. Did you just call my response an emotional outburst? She asked, icy calm. Did you dismiss my concerns as drama? George shrank in his chair. I'm simply observing. She laughed coldly. Standard journalism? This was an ambush. Real journalists illuminate truth. You tried to trap me, to create a viral moment. That's not truth. That's exploitation. I'm just doing my job, asking tough questions. She raised her voice for the first time. Your job is to inform the public, not humiliate your guests. Not twist words, not stir controversy where none exists. He tried to interrupt. She raised her hand. I'm not finished. You've questioned my right to speak, suggested I'm manipulative, that I don't deserve a voice. That's not journalism. That's a smear campaign disguised as conversation. The cameras kept rolling. If you'd sit back down, we could continue. There is no constructive way to continue, she said. You're not interested in dialogue. You want headlines, not understanding. I won't be part of that. She turned to the camera. To everyone watching, this is what happens when journalism becomes entertainment. When the goal shifts from informing to provoking. This is not good journalism. George panicked. Meryl, you're under contract. You can't leave. She turned, steel in her gaze. Watch me. Security, he called. Escort her out. Even the guards hesitated. Meryl turned one last time. You're removing me for refusing to be disrespected on live television. Think about that. You've shown us who you really are, and what this show has become. And she walked out, head high, her heels echoing down the hallway. George sat frozen at his desk, staring at the empty chair. The interview meant to promote a film had become a defining moment in TV history, a lesson in what journalism should never be, and a reminder of why Meryl Streep is respected by millions.